Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at words to describe everyday objects. Some of these words are nouns and some are adjectives. And because my viewers have different levels, some of them are rather simple and some are quite advanced. As usual, if you would like to subscribe to my free Advanced English email lessons, you'll find the link in the description. In the description, you'll also find the link to my course on common mistakes. You can receive my special discount for that if you follow that link. First, we have a couple of cushions. Remember that there's a difference between pillow and cushion. This is a pillow. It's something that you sleep on. A cushion is normally something that's decorative. They come in all different shapes and sizes. They can be much smaller than this or much bigger than this. And they're not necessarily square. This is square shaped. This material here looks like suede. Suede is leather that's not smooth and shiny. If something is shiny, it means it reflects the light. So this isn't real suede. This is what we call faux suede. Yes, that word is pronounced faux. It comes from French. In English, faux means not real or fake. It's something that's made to look real. So this is made to look like suede, but it isn't. It's faux suede. The surface is soft, but you can also say that this is soft because it changes shape easily. Yes, soft has a few meanings. Here we have another cushion. This is also nice and soft. And you could say that this material is fluffy. This is fluffy material. Frank is also fluffy. But I wouldn't call Frank an object. Frank is Frank. And here we have a remote control. This is the remote control for my reverse cycle air conditioner. A reverse cycle air conditioner is one that can cool a room and also heat a room. So you can use it in summer and winter. Anyway, this remote control has various buttons. These are buttons. And a little screen. It's plastic. And it's smooth. We would say that this is rectangular. It's not technically a rectangular prism because this part here is curved. A rectangular prism, strictly speaking, is a three-dimensional object with 6 faces that are rectangles. This tissue box is closer to a rectangular prism. Now this is made of cardboard. Cardboard is similar to paper, it's just thicker. You could also say that this is smooth and that it's colourful. Colourful means with lots of colours. Now we have a pen. This is just a regular ballpoint pen. It's called a ballpoint pen because there's a very small ball in the tip. The tip is the very end of it. This here is the lid. Some people would call this a cap, but I call this a lid. You can say either. Now, this is hard. I mean, it's not soft. If you bend it, it will break. There's an example of the conditional. If you bend it, it will break. What else? Oh yes, this dark bit here, that's the ink. Ink. So the ink is the color that comes out. Now this is quite thin. This marker, on the other hand, is rather thick. So thin and thick. Here we have a battery. Battery. Yes, in the UK and Australia, we often don't pronounce the E. We say battery. But you can say battery or battery if you want. Now this is a cylinder. That's the shape of it. A cylinder is a shape that has a circle on the bottom and a circle on the top, which are the same size. The adjective of cylinder is cylindrical. I mean, okay, technically there's this little thing on the top, but you know, basically it's a cylinder and you can say that it's cylindrical. Cylindrical. What else? Yeah, I don't actually know what batteries are made of, but the outside at least is some type of metal. So you could say that it's metallic. Metallic is the adjective of metal. This here is a diary. Yes, I still use a paper diary to write down things like appointments. You could say that this is rectangular. It's smooth. It's quite smooth. It's shiny. And it has a little ribbon. This thing here is a ribbon. You can use the ribbon as a bookmark in the diary. Here we have a bowl. A bowl. This bowl is made of china. China is the material that it's made of. This bowl is very smooth and shiny. It's round because it has because the top is a circle. And it's also hollow. That means that you can put things in it. There's lots of space inside. I'd also say that this is fragile, or a bit fragile. If I dropped it on tiles, for example, it would probably break. That's an example of the second conditional. If I dropped it on tiles, it would probably break. And now we've come to the most exciting part of the video. This is a champagne glass. And now that I hold it up to these lights, I realize that it's not totally clean. But anyway, this is a champagne glass. These tall ones, which are the most common champagne glasses nowadays, are called flutes. This is a champagne flute. This is made of glass. It's hollow. And because it's made of glass, it's also quite fragile. If I dropped it on tiles, it would probably break. And now some parts of the glass. These words also apply to regular wine glasses. This is the base. This long, tall part here is called the stem. This part is the bowl. And the very top part is called the rim. Rim. We use the word rim for top parts of all glasses and bowls and things like that. Next we have lip balm. Lip balm. Now the container is a cylinder, or you could say that it's cylindrical. Cylindrical. The outside is plastic. Well, I think the whole thing is plastic, and it's hard. You can call this a stick of lip balm, but technically stick refers to what's inside. The substance inside is a stick of lip balm. You can call substances a stick if they're shaped like a bit like this, and if they're quite firm, so if they're not liquidy. Now the container is called a tube. Lots of medicinal and cosmetic products often come in containers that are called tubes. This one has a twist base, so if I twist it, the lip balm comes out. If that looks a little bit dirty, it's just because I sometimes put it on when I have lipstick on. Now we have some lip gloss. Lip gloss. This lip gloss is also in a tube, but this is a soft tube. The lip balm was in a hard tube or a rigid tube. If it's a soft tube, we actually call it a squeeze tube or a squeezable tube, because if you take the lid off and you squeeze it, if you press on it, the product comes out. Ooh, like that. Now we have some mascara. Mascara. This is a tube of mascara. But in reality, lots of people would call this a little bottle. So you could say that this is a long, thin bottle of mascara. If you take the lid off, you can see the wand. This part here is called the wand, just like a magic wand. And speaking of bottles, here we have a little spray bottle. This is lens cleaner. You can use this to clean the lenses on your glasses. The lenses are these parts here. One lens, two lenses. The other parts of the glasses, or the other parts altogether, are called the frame. Frame. Now this is called a spray bottle because if you take the lid off and press on it, you spray the liquid. And finally we have my laptop case. As you can see, this is quite old, but it's still fine, so I'm not going to replace it yet. As I said, this is a case, but the word case is quite general. It's a container or a cover that protects something. This type of laptop case can also be called a sleeve. It's quite thin and it's not a bag, so you can call it a sleeve. This laptop case has a zip. This thing here is a zip. You can also call it a zipper. zipper. That's it for today, guys. I hope you found this educational. If you would like to practice using some of these words, or if you'd just like to practice your writing, go down to the comment section and describe an object that you use on a regular basis. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. A couple of hair. Is that more hair? Now we have we often don't pronounce the E.